We have breaking NBA trade news. The Clippers are sending Ivica Zubac to the Pacers, according to multiple reports. In return, the Clippers receiving a package that includes Bennedict Mathurin. He's one of 8 players averaging a double-double this season, posting just under 14.5 points and 11 rebounds per game. This is Zubac I'm speaking of. Last season, he was a second-team all-defense, and he joins a Pacers team that is not in the running for anything this season. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference. Tyrese Halliburton, of course, on the shelf for the entire season. Chris Hassel, Amanda Guerra, Ashley Nicole Moss, Brad Botkin. What is this trade? What's the biggest part of this trade? I'm guessing it's for the future for Indiana. Next year going for it all when Halliburton's back?
Yeah, and I'm also interested, I don't know if we have it yet or if it's been released yet. I'm interested in what the Clippers are getting in return for this. I think
Mathurin.
Mathurin?
Mathurin's all we know of at this point.
We're working on returns because obviously this is live and we're getting close to the deadline.
So I would be curious to see if that were it, if there was anything additional there. But this is big for the Pacers, especially if they're able. We don't know what they're going to do with Siakam, if that's going to be a name that we see moved in the next 30-ish minutes or so. But if not, they're gearing up to really make a push back to where they were when Tyrese Halliburton went down. You know, we were talking about this when we were discussing the Washington Wizards and what that could look like potentially in the standings when, you know, we talk about next season. And I said, look, we're forgetting there are several factors here. One, Jason Tatum doesn't have a full season under his belt due to injury. And also Tyrese Halliburton, who, when he returns, depending on what the Pacers look like, could be a much better team as expected, pick up where they left off. And this could be a big piece of what they're trying to build to make sure that when he comes back from his injury, that they're in a position to get back as a top seed in the Eastern Conference.
Best move of the deadline for me in terms of what Indiana gets here with Zubac. You go out, they didn't want to go into the tax to spend money on Miles Turner in what was going to be a gap year, and it has certainly turned out to be that. And they get a better replacement. He's not going to offer the stretch dynamic in terms of shooting the three ball. I doubt he's even taken a single three-pointer this year. We're talking about Zubac. But
you don't need him to.
Huge defensive presence. Huge defensive presence.
And what, under contract for a couple more seasons?
Yeah, and a great contract. He's making, I think, 19, 20 million, which in our terms, ton of money. NBA terms, great contract. And so to get him back and prepare for next season with Tyrese Halliburton, you look at that team. I'm actually surprised, and I don't know how intentional it has been, but I'm surprised at how bad the Pacers' record looks this year, even without Halliburton and Turner.
Me too, actually.
They have a ton. There's a reason that they went to the finals and it wasn't all Halliburton. You're talking about perfect wings for the modern game. Nembhard, Nesmith, T.J. McConnell. They're not going to move Pascal Siakam, I don't believe. Ashley made the perfect point. They're gearing up to
reclaim their spot.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you bring Halliburton back and now you add Zubac with Siakam, and don't forget now, because of this tank job this year, they're going to have a high draft pick. Maybe they dangle that in a trade for somebody else. Indiana is very well positioned. I love this trade for them.
Do you think so tank job is always a funny term for me, right? Because it implies it's intentional.
It implies intentional.
Right, and I don't know if they're intentionally tanking. We were discussing this, and when I did my preseason rankings, I had the Pacers much higher because when you look at what they did throughout their entire run to get to the finals and face OKC, and them being potentially Tyrese Halliburton's injury could have changed the trajectory of what we're talking about with the Pacers in a championship, right? You would think they were so much deeper and so much more talented. And in an Eastern Conference, there's a huge discrepancy between like your top 3 teams and then kind of everybody else. I just thought they'd be a lot more competitive. I didn't think they'd be this bad without Tyrese Halliburton. But I think it goes to show for everybody who has, said in the past he's overrated, he's this, he's that, how much he is a focal point of what makes the Indiana Pacers work. And without him, you lose a lot.
The Pacers right now sitting at 13-38 at the very bottom of the East. We do have the full details of the trade, so let's get those on the screen. Take a look at what it is. So Zubac there, Kobe Brown, the Clippers, Bennedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson is a couple, 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick as well. We've seen a lot of movement from the Clippers so far in this trade. We'll get to a little bit of that. But as far as this particular trade, Brad, how would you grade it?
I like what the Clippers are doing. They're going young. They were always gearing up for a post-Harden Kawhi Leonard era. They were going to be clean of their books in 2027. That was always the plan, and they're holding firm to that. If you zoom out and sort of look at big picture what the Clippers have done, flipping a 36-year-old James Harden for a 26-year-old Darius Garland is a monster win. Is a huge win. And now they make this Zubac trade and they bring back more draft capital. I don't know if it's going to happen in the next half hour, but this summer we have to be on the lookout for Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't make sense on a team anymore that's clearly, trying to get younger, trying to go to the next era that's going to be built around Darius Garland. I'd be on the lookout for him to be moved. I mean, don't put it past the next hour, but in the offseason as well. I know Ashley's talked about keeping him around in terms of a veteran presence.
Not only that, but I also just don't know how competitive you'll be in a Western Conference immediately without a Kawhi Leonard. And I'm also looking at it like that because Kawhi's been playing great basketball. You've even said you feel like he's been the best player in the league in the past 2 months, right?
Yeah, right.
And I'm not discrediting Darius Garland's skill set, but he does have an history with injury. And it's one of the reasons why the Cavaliers kind of grew frustrated with him. His toe just would not heal. And that was a domino effect to how the duo of him and Donovan Mitchell, along with other things. So I don't disagree that they're going younger, but I don't think the timetable is as immediate as it can be or should be for you to let go of Kawhi. I still think you need him as your bridge between the two eras.
Really quickly, because we are short on time, we have to go to break. You did not give a grade, so I need just a letter grade really fast.
Okay, for the Clippers, Mathurin's good, and you get the pick. So I'm going to go like B+.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Well, we've seen James Harden move to the Cavs, and now Zubac over to the Pacers. We'll see in these next 30 minutes if the Clippers.
Giannis, the Bucks saying they're not trading him at the deadline here. We've been talking about this for a really long time. Ashley, at this point, are you surprised that this is the case here in Milwaukee with Giannis?
No, I think that they're doing what a lot of us expected to do, and that's try to wait it out for 2 reasons. One, I think that in the offseason you get a lot more variety in terms of suitors, right? We keep talking about this. Everyone in the postseason has a different outlook on next season. Right now, you're not in the play for certain people, or certain teams rather, because their mindsets on different things. You have teams that are actual contenders, and they're not as desperate to build a championship team because they think that they are already won. Obviously, after the offseason, you have different ideologies depending on how your season played out. I think that this is also, and I joked yesterday with Brad, it's very a romantic situation, and I keep using that word because it's the only way I can really describe it. Milwaukee, to their benefit, have tried and will continue to try to do anything to keep Giannis and to keep him happy. And I think Giannis has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, meaning I think he wants to win again. I think he wants to be competitive. But I also think he has a very old school mentality that we really don't see that much in the NBA anymore, where he wants to do it with one franchise. And he had that conversation